I'm Kwame Dixon, and I'm an assistant professor of African American Studies and Political Science. And my area of concentration is mainly Latin America and the Caribbean. And I focus on broad questions of human rights, democracy, but with special attention to Black populations, and most recently Brazil, and before Brazil, Colombia. So the idea is to think about the ways in which Black peoples, the peoples of Latin America, the Afro peoples of Latin America have been excluded, and the ways in which they're trying to reinscribe their identities back into Latin American Latin American countries. Many years ago, I had a chance to go down to Nicaragua during the Sandinista revolution, which is a long time ago. And I had a chance to go down, and for the first time I saw some amazing experiments in social democracy unfolding. And I discovered in Nicaragua that there was a small Black population that was English speaking. And so I had this opportunity to go to Nicaragua. I was supposed to go for 2 weeks, and I stayed a month and a half because of the exciting experiments that was taking place. And this was the area of Nicaragua called Bluefields. And so I had a chance to go down and see what the Sandinistas were doing to understand this new experiment, and in particular their emphasis on ethnic rights. So I really became interested in the question of what are ethnic rights in the context of a revolution? What does that mean? Here at Syracuse, we are very lucky to have a really great and diverse student body. And we get a lot of students from, as you know, New York, and the surrounding areas. And we get, and even people from Pennsylvania, it doesn't matter, but I'm saying you really get a good mix of students. So we get a lot of people from the region who are in these classes, and you get, and even for the people who are not in the region, the question of what ethnicity looks like in another country is always intriguing. So it's not just what ethnicity and issues of racialization or issues of racial discrimination or issues of gender look like in the US, but for many of the students, they want to know what that looks like, how that unfolds in Brazil or in Cuba or in Colombia. If you have a chance to do study abroad, if you know that you're going to concentrate on the areas of the Americas, it would be great to do a study abroad program. And as you know, SU has some really top-rate study abroad programs. I would strongly urge students to think about if they have the resources and the time to plan it so that they can do that semester abroad. Go to the region and see the region. I think 1 week in the region is one semester, equivalent to one semester. The issue of democracy with respect to Black and Indigenous communities is not only the Brazilian question, it's a hemispheric question. So while I might concentrate on Brazil, that really the broader issue is how do excluded peoples think about democracy. So my recent book really began to think about what does democracy look like for people historically excluded from the democratic process. And you see some of the same tendencies in this country to exclude formerly excluded people from the democratic process. And in Brazil, it's the opposite. Formerly excluded people are now becoming part of the political process. And I think people should really think about that. They should also begin to think about the ways in which Black communities across the Americas, not just in the US, are really coming together to articulate a much more of a broader idea of what Blackness means in a hemispheric level. So it's not just the US, but it's Brazil, it's Colombia, it's Ecuador, it's Peru, is that these are real serious movements unfolding that oftentimes, they're not covered in this country.